I'm Kirsta Teague, and thanks for tuning into Studio Q. We're upstairs right now in the JDC, Upper Kelly, and we've got a really great show tonight with stories on brewing your own beer, an update on the rumors regarding the closure of the Student Health Center, and the upcoming Rector elections.
And hi, I'm Ron Tite, and as Kirsta said, this is going to be a great show. But what about those Jays?
Woohoo!
Jays, yes.
What were you doing that night?
Oh, well, I watched it at a friend's house, and then we went downtown to AJ's.
Hung out in the street, yeah.
Awesome, awesome. I've never seen that kind of pandemonium over such a small event.
Yeah, it was incredible. I was upstairs in AJ's, and everyone was jumping up and down. I thought that the upstairs was going to, like, fall into the downstairs. And people were, oh, it was great. Yeah. But anyways.
Anyhow, with a look at the festivities after the Jays' clinching game for the World Series Championship, here is Sellery with a report.
Blue Jay fever preempted the midterm crunch last week, drawing unprecedented crowds to the big screen at Alfie's. Saturday night's game, the 6th and final of the World Series, was immortalized in the bottom of the 11th inning.
For the first time in history, the World Championship banner will fly north of the border.
It was impeccable timing that the bars closed immediately following, sending fans en masse into the streets to celebrate, especially here on University Avenue, where many gathered at a huge street party.
2 by 2, 4 by 4, 8 by 8, 16 by 16, hundreds of people at a time.
Queen's University hasn't seen a street party like this since October homecoming in 1987. But the Toronto Blue Jays win of the World Series was reason enough to gather again for this legendary celebration.
But in 1987, a similar event turned ugly. Students were arrested, property damaged, and the incident attracted national media attention that effectively put an end to such revelry. This time, the kinder, gentler Queens prevailed.
Most of the crowd is fairly friendly. That's what we like to see.
Police presence helped to keep things under control. Later, they prevented more revelers from joining the party by blocking pedestrian access from all directions. But at its peak, the street party hosted upwards of 3,000 people. This with another impromptu bash on Princess Street as well.
I was big time stressed, big time. But the Jays win it, Winfield. Boom!
As we now know, the Jays' win wasn't enough to carry the yes side in the referendum. But the first Canadian team to capture the World Series certainly strummed on rusty, patriotic heartstrings. Everyone exuded pride in Canada, but also in Queens. A spontaneous street party of this magnitude was a flashback to wilder times. Because for reasons just or unjust, Queens has changed dramatically in the past 3 years. Major steps taken to eliminate sexism, racism, and homophobia have tamed traditions and prompted widespread concern that the unique Queens spirit was evaporating. Concern that we'd remain a fine educational institution, but lose our position as Canada's preeminent spirit institution. Last Saturday's street party proved that the fire is alight. Queen's spirit lives on. For Studio Q, I'm Sellery reporting.
Yes, that was definitely a moment in history. You probably won't ever see that again until the hopeless Leafs win the cup. Yeah, right. Keep watching the show, though, because you might see yourself in a drunken stupor with our street party footage at the end of the show.
And now for a look at what's happening around Queens. Thousands of dollars were raised on Wednesday for the annual Cover Your Crest Day. Students across the campus spent the day encouraging other students to donate their loose change and cover their year's faculty crest. This event is a fundraiser for Kids for Kids, a local charity that supports the wildlife program at the Hotel Dieu Hospital. Maclean's magazine is planning to publish another ranking of Canadian universities. Last year, the Weekly News magazine ranked Queens as the second best university in the country, behind McGill. This year, our bragging rights may be in jeopardy. Advanced word is that Maclean's has changed its judgment criteria. That means Queens might be competing head-to-head with some of the larger universities in the country. Regardless, we may still have to wait a few weeks for the new ranking. Fallout from the no vote in the referendum could push back the survey's publication date. And Wednesday afternoon saw a wellness display in the lower Cayley. It was a chance for students to shop around for various health-related information and advice. The numerous display booths had information on everything from stress prevention and substance abuse to birth control and AIDS prevention.
For the past 2 years, Rector Antoinette Mongillo has served Queens as the student voice on the Board of Trustees and in an informal role as an ombudsperson. Busy with articling duties, Antoinette is now getting ready for the election of her successor. Our man, all over town, Bruce Sellery, has the story.
Singing in oil-fired sesquicentennial celebrations was only part of the job for Queen's Rector Antoinette Mongillo. She had a busy 2 years fulfilling her role as the students' representative, both on the Board of Trustees and as an informal ombudsperson for student concerns. But her day-to-day life as rector is only infrequently interrupted by her ceremonial role. More often, she's a representative voice on student concerns.
You need someone that is representing all students, not on specific issues, but generally. There are 13,000 students here.
The rector's primary role on the Board of Trustees is to make student views heard, often breaking from their party line and demanding change.
I was especially critical of student affairs and student services and the way they were being managed. The fact that it's been a couple of years now and we still have problems with respect to sexual harassment, so getting advisors, training those advisors.
But a large portion of her time is spent helping students in a variety of tough situations. In times of crisis, she directs students to services and procedures that can deal with their issues. But often, she rolls up her sleeves to get involved directly. Everything from trying to get someone readmitted to a program to dealing with complex non-academic grievances.
It's great to meet the Prince and Princess of Wales and the Governor General. It's wonderful and exciting. But in the end, the thing that's enduring and the experiences that you remember are knowing that you made a difference in somebody's life.
The position of rector, unpaid except for tuition reimbursement, is up for election next Tuesday and Wednesday. The two candidates, David Barr and Allison Andruko, are both focusing on commitment in their run for the job.
When I have an idea, I have to follow through on it. I have to take action on it. And I feel as rector, I would be able to follow through and take action.
Barr is completing a PhD in economics, while his challenger, Allison Andruko, is studying for a doctorate in politics.
I've always had a lot of things going in my life, and I've always devoted the maximum amount of time that I could to each of them. Now, for instance, I train as a triathlete, you know, in addition to my studies. And I've done a lot of my academic achievements that demonstrate that I can get things done quickly, and I'm pretty efficient in that capacity.
Barr says he's finding the race very political.
I feel that I've done a lot of things which, when compared with the other candidate on a real basis, show a substantial difference between the two of us, but that difference might not come out in terms of the image that each of us are able to project.
Allison Andruko feels that students' attitudes about their education is changing.
You know, they think of themselves more as consumers of the university, so they're becoming more conscious of the rights that they should be demanding from the university.
The shaking hands and kissing babies continues until next week. Then the current rector, Antoinette Mongillo, will help the winner with transition and pass on her magical ombuds wand.
And apparently you just tap a student on the shoulder with this wand and it makes everything all better and solves all problems.
Be sure to get out and vote in the rector elections on November 3rd and 4th. For Studio Q, I'm Bruce Sellery reporting.
Massive celebration was the result of the Jays' victory as hundreds of Queen students poured onto University Avenue Saturday night to share in the excitement. But what would have happened if the Braves had taken the Jays in the World Series?
Last Saturday, prior to Game 6, we asked Queen students what they would do if the Braves chopped the Jays.
Not a lot. It'd be very bad. Serious. I'm gonna cry buckets.
Wallow around in my grief for about 2
try and find the strength to carry on. If the Braves take it?
Yeah. We'll have to kill him.
Probably drive down to Atlanta and join the party there.
I wouldn't mind going to Atlanta, party with them as well, or just hope the Jays do it next year, I suppose.
Well, I'm going for Braves, so if I won, I'm going to take all my friends and I'm going to go party, yeah.
World Series. I'd vote yes, because Canada would need it more than ever.
Well, I'm just thinking about the War of 1812 where we burned down Washington. I'd be for getting a group of people together, get a couple of buses, road trip down to Atlanta, and burn the city down.
I think I'll vote no. That's pretty much what I'll do.
Oh, I'm going to laugh in my housemate's face. I'm an Expos fan.
I'll probably explode. I don't know, I'm in midterms now. I'm too busy to even care.
No way. There's no way it's not going to happen.
Not going to happen.
No way.
Can't happen. That's impossible. Jays are too close. I mean, like, tonight's game, they have to win it.
They'll win it.
Yeah. I'll eat his hat. No, you won't. I like my hat. Eat your own.
I'm doing the Atlanta job.
No, they have to win. I mean, Jays have been up for so long. I mean, World Series, first Canadian catcher. First catcher in the Canadian team has got MVP. Yeah.
We'll be cheering for Atlanta next year. That's what we'll be doing.
Get drunk.
Okay.
Just get drunk.
Okay. You be upset?
Yeah, I'd be rather upset. We'll go to Ted. No, we'll go to Ted Turner's house. We'll burn it. I don't know. We'll cause him bodily harm. Ted Turner and
We'll make them have another game, a rematch.
Well, fortunately, the Jays won, so Ted Turner gets to keep his house. Atlanta still stands, and all the partying stayed right here. For Studio Q, I'm Greg Warman.
Did you get your paper done?
No. I played guitar for, an hour, hour and a half. Then I had to clean up my room and...
Procrastinate.
Procrastinate.
Ron.
Yeah,
I didn't get mine done either.
I know you didn't, because you're the worst.
I know. Today's the day, though.
Yeah, right.
I've given up. I'm not making lists on things to do anymore, because that's like, I constantly do that, and I get so caught up in making lists on how to organize my life that I never get anything
You make
done.
lists, and then you call your best friend from high school.
Watch TV.
You watch TV.
Make some food.
Make some food. Definitely eat some food. And then it's late, and your music is blaring. But it wasn't as bad as, like, first year.
You're a bad procrastinator in first year?
Yeah, it was horrible. First year is probably, the worst.
I think I'm getting worse every year. I don't know.
First year is the worst year to procrastinate, as Cathy Barnes found out. Take a look.
I'm standing in Leonard Hall, one of the many residences at Queen's University. Many students live in residence their first year because it is a great learning opportunity. Not only do you get the chance to meet many new people, you learn compromise and cooperation. Naturally, these are very important lessons. However, although I've only lived in residence a little more than a month, I've already discovered that perhaps the greatest lesson you learn in residence is the art of procrastination. Here in Leonard 4 West Common Room, watching TV is one of the more popular procrastination devices.
I just have to say that watching TV is the best mode of dogging, because after such a hard day of going to class and working and the such like that, you need something mindless, like Batman, perhaps.
And when the TV room is too full, computer games and Nintendo are another great way to avoid homework.
Also, over here in this corner, oh, can I move? Over here in this corner, we got the Stackmaster. This is a great procrastination technique. You can open up, it can make anything. Grilled cheese are our favorites, but it takes up to 15-20 minutes just to make a sandwich. Then you have to socialize while we eat it.
Lately, our favorite procrastination technique, although we have many like Nintendo, watching TV, just plain walking around the halls, our favorite right now is making telephone messages. Got this little puppy up a few little hours ago.
As well, don't be surprised to walk through the halls of Leonard and into the midst of a hacky-sack game, a method of procrastination that not only improves foot-eye coordination, it's also great exercise.
Wow, is this a whole bunch of fun or what? I can't play. Boy, you guys are swell.
Perhaps one of the more efficient time wasters is roaming the halls. Knocking on doors and visiting your floor mates is a great way to make friends, plus it has the potential to waste hours of possible homework time. Finally, we come to the unbeatable and most popular form of procrastination, and my personal favorite, sleep. I challenge anyone to find another method of procrastination that brings us much pleasure or satisfaction. Procrastination has and always will be a fundamental part of first-year living. However, all you frosh don't take this pleasure for granted, because once that first transcript arrives, you'll find your procrastination time will decrease and your workload will increase. However, do enjoy it while you can, as it is an art to be explored, modified, and perfected, and it is an essential part of any frosh's life at Queen's. Reporting for Studio Q, I'm Cathy Barnes.
Well, some of you may have seen our beer story a couple of weeks ago, but due to a technical error, most didn't. So joining us now on location is Studio Q's own beer consultant, Mike Wise. Mike, I understand you went downtown and brewed a little beer.
Yeah, we went down to this new brew-your-own beer place called Brew Ha Ha. It's located down on Princess Street, and it's owned by a former Queen's student, Tim Hughes. And we made our own batch of Studio Q brew, and he talked us through the process and showed us just how easy it is to make beer yourself.
You take the 2 ladlefuls of wort out of the container, put it into a yeast container. What we're going to do is cool it down so that the yeast will be able to take hold. If you put yeast into it now, the yeast would die because it's too hot. Okay. So I'll get a little bowl full of water so we can set it in, and that'll help it cool down faster. So we didn't use any grains in your beer, but for a premium beer, like a darker beer, Ricker's Red, for example, we would use the grains for flavor and color. The black patent malted grain is a darker color. It's been roasted. This is called a chocolate malt.
You'd actually put chocolate in a beer?
There's no chocolate in there, but it just smells like chocolate. That's why they call it that. And so it's the darker grains that lend the darker colors usually to the darker ales. It is time for last hop. Now your last hop is your aroma hop. And you have to put the last hop in only after the wort has come off the boil. Because if you put it into boiling water or boiling wort, then it will boil off all the aroma oils. So now we're going to measure your yeast into your sample of wort. Put the scale on, and you have to be quite exact about this. So you're agitating the yeast to prevent it from clumping in the sample, just to get it into suspension so it just doesn't fall on the bottom and lie there. And you might have to do that for about 30 seconds. What we're going to do now is pump off your beer. It goes through the stainless steel wort line, pumped off by the pump here. Goes through the hop filter to get out any kind of hops that might be still left. Then it goes through a heat exchanger to bring the beer down to 75 degrees. So what I'm going to get you to do is open the valve on your kettle when I say go, and then I'll turn on the pump. Now, the final step for today's session is to put the yeast in. Okay. Just take your cup and pour it into the large opening, making sure to get all of it in. So I take the fermenting container out of the tile trough, put it on the floor, agitate it to get it aerated, as well as mixing the yeast up a little bit, roll it along the floor, and stack it there until tonight, where we'll take the whole group of them downstairs. This is not a customer area, but this is where we keep all the beer for 2 weeks while you're away. Now this is the first room, and it's called the fermentation room because beer ferments here. It's kept at 65 degrees Fahrenheit. Keep the door shut so keep the temperature constant. Okay, right now the yeast is fermenting the sugar in the beer, and it turns the sugar into 2 things: carbon dioxide and alcohol. This is a cold room.
Very, very cold.
This is where the beer goes after the fermentation cycle is complete. It's 0 degrees Celsius in here just before freezing. It chills the beer, it clears the beer out when it's at this temperature as the sediment falls down to the bottom. And the colder it is, the easier it is to carbonate.
And it gets pumped upstairs into a silver carbonating scud, but you'll see that next time.
And that next time is next week, when we'll have part 2 of our beer brewing series, when we look at how to bottle the beer and some of the costs and benefits involved in doing it yourself.
But when do we drink it? Do we drink it?
We didn't have the cameras rolling when we drank it.
No cameras rolling when we drank it.
Yeah, so next week.
Okay, good. Thanks for coming in, Mike.
Okay, thanks, sir.
And now, over to Kirsta.
Who are these people patrolling campus with walkie-talkies on their hip and a blue jacket on their back and an attitude that says, I'm in charge? Well, you guessed it. They're the Queen's security. But I mean, what exactly is their job, and what do they do, and who sent them? Well, Karen Ward investigates these investigators.
Thanks to TV programs like Hunter, Miami Vice, Top Cops, and even Charlie's Angels, law enforcement officers and their duties, lifestyles, and experiences have become very glamorized. Unfortunately, our own cops here on campus, Queen's Campus Security, don't enjoy quite the high profile that Chuck's fast-shooting Angels did.
Campus security? Right. What do you know about campus security?
Hunter, I don't know very much about them.
And I'm really familiar with the Queen Student Constables, but I haven't seen the campus security at all, no.
Okay. In an attempt to solve the mystery of campus security, I spoke with Howard Pierce, the director of Queen's Security and Parking Services Department.
Well, basically, we're here to respond to any kind of an emergency. We have a supervisor on duty 24 hours a day, and then at peak hours of the day, we have we have students working for us as patrol persons.
Queen's Security and Parking also provide an escort service when Walk Home is not operating, as well as a Work Alone program. Security will check regularly on people who are working on campus alone late at night to ensure their safety. The largest and most visible components of the Queen's Security and Parking Department are the campus security officers. They patrol the campus from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. daily in teams of 2 and normally follow a well-planned schedule.
We have certain buildings to check. The schedules vary, and you would check, special areas in a building. We check, bike stands. We look out for any unusual activity going on. We're there to respond to alarms or anyone who's in distress.
Although the Walk Home Service, the Queen's Student Constable System, and the campus security officers all strive to make Queens a safer place, they are not to be confused.
I think a lot of people confuse the Walk Home Service and the constable system and security together. We all have very different functions. We're not there to provide escorts all night as the Walk Home Service is. No, we don't work in the pub like the constables do and so on. But we do provide security as sort of a constant presence on campus.
While campus security may not make it to prime time or even the big screen, there is no doubt that they do provide an efficient and reliable security system here on Queen's campus. For Studio Q, I'm Karen Ward, reporting.
Rehearsals are well underway for the upcoming Meds Variety Night. As the name implies, it's a variety show featuring medical students with proceeds going to local charities. Last Sunday, some drug busters themselves held a sneak preview in the Lower Cayley. The show will be held November 12th, 13th, and 14th in Grant Hall. Tickets go on sale next week. Tuesday was Student Band Night at Alfie's, a chance to hear from some local groups. This week featured performances by the Seamsters and this band, the Hammertone. They have the distinction of being Kingston's only punk band with full gender parity. And last Saturday, members of ISIC held a fundraising and social event in proper Queen's tradition, a house crawl. But this one had a foreign flair, as the event's organizer, Cheyenne Church, explains.
Because each of the houses have a different country theme. And this house is Germany, and we have Italy and Jamaica. And we're keeping the food, the drink, the clothes, and the decorations all within that ethnic type of theme.
ISEC is an international business club for students from all faculties and has chapters in 74 countries around the world. This event attracted other ISEC members from McMaster, Carleton, and Laurier. The money raised from the house crawl will be used to sponsor Queen's students in work experience programs abroad. ISEC also hopes to provide a similar type of work experience program for international students here in Kingston.
Everybody knows that Queens has a reputation at other universities for being a bit snobbish. Although this is certainly not true, there may be one reason for this misconception, which is the existence of the most aristocratic sports on campus. However, as Crawford Smith found out, the members of the Croquet Club are not as pompous as you might expect.
Most students have heard of the skydiving club, the martial arts clubs, or the various ethnic and language clubs around campus. But the Croquet Club? Not many. Rumored to be the oldest and at one time largest club on campus, the Croquet Club has existed in virtual anonymity over the past few years. It seems unusual that a sport which has traditionally attracted old money and even older players would have trouble finding support at Queens. But it seems as though that has been the case. However, under the leadership of new president Drew McReynolds, the club is trying to get students to look past the image through the sport itself.
What you'll see a lot of people associate croquet with are whites and money and old people. So, but what we're sort of trying to show right here today is a lot of kids can get out and play. A lot of students. It's really a fun game to play, and everyone's played it before. And we want to sort of cross out that image of sophistication.
The image change has worked. The Croquet Club now has nearly 60 members, most of them first-time players.
This is a lot of fun. You know, I was thinking, how fun could it be to, you know, knock wooden balls around through wickets? But believe it or not, we're having a great time.
The club is a lot more than Sunday afternoons at Fleming Field. A full member of Croquet Canada and a partial member of the U.S. Croquet Association, the club is looking to become a power in the intercollegiate croquet world. Didn't know it existed? Well, neither did I. However, a few weeks ago, a four-man team from Queens went down to Southampton, New York, and took on the Ivy League's best in the first ever Can-Am croquet tournament.
We won 4 out of 5 matches, and it was the first Can-Am Collegiate Croquet Bowl, and had a lot of fun. You know, did a lot of partying, of course, but played some good croquet, and it's just a blast.
Well, it appears as though croquet is once again alive and well at Queens. And if you're looking for a good way to spend a Sunday afternoon, this might just be the club for you. After all, with the success of the team last year in the Can-Am tournament, the club hopes to send another 10-man team down to West Palm Beach. Doesn't sound too bad if you don't mind a good time. For Studio Q, I'm Crawford Smith, reporting.
That's it for another show. You'll have to join us next week when you'll hear Miss Piggy say...
Who's Miss Piggy?
Pigs in Space. Tune in next time when...
me, and I was just about to say...
We'll have stories on beer brewing, part 2.
And my turn.
Yeah, go.
And the cheerleading team.
And the cheerleading team.
Woohoo!
Yeah. And this is a week of midterms.
I don't have any midterms.
None. No,
I've got papers like everywhere. I've got them. Oh.
Papers.
Everyone's got the same story. Everyone's in the same
Yeah.
boat. Anyways. Okay. That's it.
See you next week. I'm Ron Tite.
I'm Kirsta Teague.
Studio Q, Queen's weekly television show, is brought to you each week by Cablenet 13 and Queen's Alma Mater Society. Tune in next week, Thursday at 6 o'clock and Friday at 4:30 on Cablenet 13.